Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to part 3 of the Donald Trump and Chris Wallace interview. In the last part, we talked about how much schools hate America and how cool the police are. We're getting right into the next part. We're talking about some polls. We're going to kick off with a poll here from Chris Wallace. Let's go.
Mr. President, you'll be happy to know that Fox News has a new poll out today.
Is that a Diet Coke?
And you're going to be the very first person to hear about it. In the national horse race, Joe Biden leads you by 8 points, 49% to 41. That's, I think, 3-4 points slimmer than it was a month ago. And on the issues, people trust Biden more to handle the coronavirus by 17 points, on race relations by 21 points, and even on the economy, they trust Biden more by 1 point. I understand we still have more than 100 days to this election, but at this point, you're losing.
First of all, I'm not losing.
Of course.
Because those are fake polls.
The
they
fake
were fake
polls,
in 2016,
very fake.
and now they're even more fake.
They're even more
the
fake.
Polls were much worse in 20.
Hold on a second. I'm going to pause the recording because I do want to bring this up. Hold on. All right, I'm back with the recording. This is just a bit about the polling real quick. This right here is the RCP average, the Real Clear Politics average. And this is an aggregate site that keeps track of all the polls that are happening across all reputable sites. It only includes polls that are reputable and are accurate within a certain number and have trustworthy methodology. It is very thorough. There are no made-up polls making their way into this. And if you look, there were places in 2016, you can see right here the margin of error, where the furthest Hillary Clinton got was in April, and this is like about after she clinched the nomination and after Trump was pretty much the front runner. And then as things kind of coalesced throughout the summer, it was really close a number of times. Like the very highest that this got was about 12 points. And that was about the time that they were starting to kind of, the writing was on the wall as far as who was going to win the primaries and such. And from then on, I mean, they were pretty close. They were within 10 points and most of the time under 5. And then even here, the polls were super close, within like a point of each other in November even. So everyone talks about how fake the polls were. The polls were not fake. The polls were not wrong. The predictions and the percentages were wrong. But Trump was close the whole time. Like, it was pretty realistic. Like, Trump had realistic shots for much of the time. However, let's get a look and see how Trump versus Biden's doing. The smallest gap between them was early in the primary when Biden was in Gap Central and Sanders was surging. But even then, even at Biden's worst and lowest, he has still been a solid 3-4 points at the lowest above Trump this entire time. And now as we enter the crisis and such, it is huge. Look how much bigger these gaps are than they were over Clinton. Trump had the lead at points. Had like a 1 point, was off by like 1 in many different stages. There is a baseline 4 to 6% gap between Trump and Biden. And right now, it is 8 points, which is pretty consistent when you look at what's going on in this interview, where the poll they showed was an 8-point difference. So no, this is not 2016. This is so much different than 2016. 2016, the polls were actually pretty spot on. The polls did a pretty good job in general. It's just the projections were wrong, and people got cocky, and the Clinton campaign was terrible and lazy. This time, however, unless Trump pulls off a miracle, this is definitely not going well for him.
2016. They interviewed 22% Republican. Well, how do you do 22% Republican? You see what's going on. I have other polls that put me
That's just one
leading.
poll.
And we have polls where I'm leading. I have a poll where we're leading in every swing state. And I don't believe that you're...
I have a poll where we're leading every swing state. Of course you do, dude. That's the thing about Donald Trump, is you get nothing from him unless you make him happy. Like, your job is to make him happy. every single staffer that is left, like, there's been so many, like, books and articles and interviews. It's pretty consistent. Your goal in the White House is to make Trump happy. Otherwise, you're not getting anything done. It's like that woman bringing him the giant, like, 40-point font piece of paper earlier that said that they had the best death rate. Like, that's something that he's... This is just what you do, is you give Trump what makes him happy, and then maybe he'll let you do something.
First of all, the Fox polls, whoever does your Fox polls, they're among the worst. They got it all wrong in 2016.
Of course.
They've been wrong on every poll I've ever seen.
Of course.
I must tell you.
No, I'm just telling you. And let me ask you this. So on the economy, so I've always led on the economy by a lot.
I know, which is why I was
Biden
surprised by
can't
this
put
number.
two sentences together. They wheel him out. He goes up. He repeats. They ask him questions. He reads a teleprompter, and then he goes back into his basement. You tell me the American people want to have that in an age where we're...
No, but we definitely want that less. We want that more than we want this.
in trouble with other nations that are looking to do numbers on us.
So let me ask you a direct question. No, I'm going to ask you a direct question about Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden senile?
I don't want to say
Ooh.
that. I say he's not competent to be president. To be president, you have
said
to
he
be
can't put
sharp
two
and
sentences
tough
together.
and so many other things. He doesn't even come out of his basement. They think, oh, this is a great campaign. So he goes in. I'll then make a speech. It'll be a great speech. And some young guys start writing. Vice President Biden said,
Dude, I've seen your speeches. They're weird. They're very weird.
this. He didn't say it. Joe doesn't know he's alive, okay? He doesn't know he's alive. Do the American people want that? Number one. Number two.
Drag
I
him.
built the greatest economy ever built anywhere in the world. Not only in this country, anywhere in the world. Until we got hit with the China virus. We got hit with a virus. Shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And we had to close up. We saved millions of lives. Now we've opened it up. Got to go back to school. We're open. We got to do things. We had the best job numbers we've ever had last month. We should have good ones coming up in 2 weeks.
Do you have any... The tone-deaf nature of this is astounding. Like, the best numbers... Dude, there's so many people unemployed. So many people are going to be homeless.
Look, I built the greatest economy in history.
You did.
I'm now doing it again. You
You're
see
not.
the numbers. The numbers are through the roof. The
They're not.
Democrats are purposely keeping their schools closed, keeping their states closed. I called Michigan.
Good.
I want to have a big rally in Michigan. Do you know we're not allowed to have a rally in Michigan? Do you know we're not
Good.
allowed to have a rally in Minnesota? Do you know we're not allowed to have a rally in Nevada? We're
Yeah,
not
those are
allowed to have
good.
rallies
Well, some
in these
people would say it's a health-
Democrat-run
Oh, wait a minute.
states.
Some people would say that it's a health risk.
Some
sir.
people would say
They
fine, but
I mean,
but I guarantee
we
you,
had some issues after
if
Tulsa.
everything was gone 100%, they still wouldn't allow it.
True, we did have issues after Tulsa. Wait, did he just say if everything was gone 100%, they still wouldn't allow it? Once again, it's the old man angry at the TV mentality. They get mad at what they see, and then they make up scenarios that they get mad about even again.
They're not allowing me to do it. So they're not. They're,
Oh, no.
they're not allowing me to have rallies.
But I got to tell you,
No.
And I'll do it a different
if I may, sir, respectfully, in the Fox poll, they asked people who is more competent, whose mind is sounder. Biden beats you in that.
Well, I tell you what.
51% of people said Trump doesn't have the mental soundness. Dude, imagine losing that to Joe Biden. Joe, I liked when the kids played with the hair on my legs, Biden.
But let's take a test. Let's take a test.
Let's
right
take a
now.
test.
Let's go down. Joe and I will take a test.
Let's take a
Let
test.
us take the same test that I took.
Incidentally, I took the test too when I heard that you passed.
I've seen this part.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This looks difficult. This looks real difficult.
How did
It's
you
not
do?
the well, it's not the hardest test.
No, but
It
the
is-
last
there's a picture and it says
the
what's
last-
that, and it's an
No,
elephant.
no. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation because yes, the first few questions are easy. I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard. The last 5
Well,
questions.
one of them was
man.
count back from 100 by 7.
I'm glad that you succeeded in the test to see if your brain works, buddy. I want to go. Hold on, I do want to go back and just look at the page of that test. I want to see that. Let's see, where was it? Let's see this. Read the list of letters. The subject must tap with his hand at each letter A. No points if more than 2 errors. F, B, A, C, M, N, A, J, K, L, B, A, F, A, K, D, E, A, J, A, M, O, F, A, B. Serial 7 number subtraction starting at 70. Oh, dude, you didn't get to start at 70. Dude, you get to start at 70? I thought you had to start at 100. Dude, this rules. This rules.
There's a picture and it says, what?
The robber of the gray car was stopped by the police. You have to repeat that?
That, and it's an elephant.
No.
This just sees
that's
your
all
brain works.
misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation because yes,
Nobody
the first
did
few
as good in the
questions are
test as
easy,
me.
But I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard. The last 5
Well,
questions.
one of them was count back from 100 by 7.
And let me tell you, you couldn't answer. You couldn't answer many of the questions. I'd get you the test. I'd like to give it, but I guarantee you that Joe Biden could not answer those questions. Okay.
Yeah?
And I answered all 35 questions correctly.
You talk about
correctly.
how you're winning, campaign's going well. Why did
Of
you
course.
replace Brad Parscale? Isn't that
Because he's a great digital guy. We all like him a lot. But I have somebody that was involved. You know, they were all on the 2016 campaign, and we have
He
Corey.
just
and
looks
we
like
have all the
everybody
people.
else.
And actually, Steve Bannon's been much better not being involved. He says the greatest president ever. I mean, he's saying things that I said, let's keep Steve out there. He's doing a good job. But they're all involved. If Joe Biden got in, first of all, he won't call the shots. The people, the radical left people that surround him will call. Religion will be gone.
Dude, I wish the radical left people around Joe Biden would call the shots.
Okay? Life, you could forget about that. The whole question.
Wait, he says religion would be gone. Life? You could forget about that?
Of life, Supreme
when you
Court.
say
The whole question of life?
life, you mean abortion?
Absolutely.
Oh.
100%. That whole question, which is a very, it's always been a 50-50
understand.
thing. It's actually trending a little bit more toward one
When you say
side. now.
religion is going to be gone, what does that mean?
Look at what they're doing to the churches. They won't let the churches even open if they want to stand in a field 6 feet apart. We've had churches that wanted to stand in fields 6 feet apart.
Dude, they let people do drive-ins. They let people do, like, online church and stuff. Like,
There has never been an administration that's done so much.
he's
as
an
I
old
have.
man mad
From
at the TV.
Tax cuts to regulation cuts
Tax cuts? What, did you say?
to
Hold on.
rebuilding the military, to getting choice for the vets. Nobody's done the things I've done. Nobody. In 3.5 years, no other president's been able to do what I've done.
You're running in large part on the
Okay,
economy. You built it once. Now we have the coronavirus. You're going to build it again. And in fact, you had great jobs numbers in May.
He built it at the exact same rate that Obama built it. That's the thing. Maybe even a little bit slower. Like, he did nothing
You had
special.
solid jobs numbers in June. But I want you to look at some projections. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says the unemployment rate at the end of the year will be 10.5%.
Dude, that's
JP Morgan
depression.
says in the fourth quarter, GDP will contract by
That's
6.2%.
brutal.
With states now rolling back some of the reopening
On purpose.
and well, there are a lot of Republican states that
There
are doing
is
it, like
no reason-
Texas. But here's
they'll
let me
be
just-
open very
Let me
soon.
just ask my question.
There's no reason for
Isn't there a-
California to be doing what they're doing,
All right.
100% is. 100% is.
except for November 3rd.
With the states shutting back the reopening, in a lot of cases, new lockdowns.
They have to.
Won't the economy still
Because
be
cases
a
are
problem
going
for
up.
you on election
I
day?
don't
Because we
think so.
suck.
I think the economy is expanding and growing beautifully. Now, the Democrats want to keep it closed as long as possible because they think that's good for election. But I think the
Okay.
economy is doing very well. Now we're coming back, and we're coming back at a level that nobody would have thought.
Dude, tell that to the 12 million people who didn't, to like the, I think it was like the 32% of Americans that didn't make their rent or mortgage payments in the month of June.
Possible. And by the way, take a look at a gauge, whether you like it or not, the stock market. The stock market, NASDAQ, hit its all-time high 2 weeks ago, and it's beaten it.
The NASDAQ has nothing to do with the good of everyday people.
14 different
Nothing.
times, okay? The stock market, Dow, etc., is 1,000 points away from its all-time high, meaning very close. We're going to have a stock market, perhaps, on November 3rd, that's the highest in history.
I want to talk to you about Obamacare. Since the pandemic hit, millions of people have lost their jobs.
Okay, we're going to talk about Obamacare. Yeah, we're 15 minutes into this one. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop this part here, and yeah, we'll continue in the next one coming up. But still going well. Still going great for the president. As the thesis of he's an old man mad at the TV just continues to flourish. Continues to rise and grind, as they say. Can't wait to see what happens next.